centripetal force, it's obviously we have also the opposite force. To make that happen, we call it as a centrifugal force. Something like it, but not really driven by mathematical and science. The purpose only is to have an opposite naming of the force opposite to centripetal force. But in reality, they said there in the research, this is not really an existent force like that, like the centripetal force. This centripetal force. Okay, that's why we have centrifugal pump, something like that, right? In our, in our generators, whatever. One type of a pump is a centrifugal pump, something like that, because of that purpose also. Okay, so meaning it, the force is going toward outward, something like that. So that is centrifugal force. But in physics, it's not really that, it's not that really relevant to measure always the centrifugal force. Okay? All we understand that centrifugal force is the opposite of centripetal force, only like that. Okay? So, muna siya natagbo. Because we always hear the word centrifugal, and in fact, we have also centrifugation process in chemistry. Right? Okay, muna siya. Okay, problem number 1. Okay, nakakaloka. So, ano natin problem number 1. Ito pa mga palangga, kanina siya. Okay. Hello. A 2 kilogram soccer ball attached to a rope. Naklaro na ito kayo. Attached to a rope. I told you, if rope ganito, attached to a rope. Okay, in a horizontal circle. Wow. In a horizontal circle. Then, of radius, chuba chu, radius of 1 meter. Okay. Calculate the tension force. Okay. Calculate the tension force. Okay. If the ball, ganon, is moving at 20 meter per second, the next 5 meter per second. We have to answer here. Tension force, first situation, if it will move 20 meter per second and 5 meter per second. So, ganun siya. Okay, how can you solve this particular equation? Okay, let's draw this first. So the rope. Okay, so going back, this is a circle, and then we have the soccer ball, 2 kilogram, and a rope. Okay, this is a rope here attached. Okay, okay, 2 kilogram ball. So it's gonna be here. Okay, the ball is here, right? Soccer ball, and let's imagine that the soccer ball will be imaginary here at the top, imaginary here also at the opposite, and imaginary downward. And this is our center. Okay? Now radius. How much? 1 meter. Okay, this is our R. Okay. Now, calculate the tension force. This is 2 kilogram. Okay. 2 kilogram. Something like that. Okay. Ganon. So you will try to rotate that one. Then you can create here somewhere the velocity going there, the force going there. Okay, like that. Okay, and then then it will go there. The central force will going there, and the velocity going there, and then body force here, and tension here, tension X, tension Y, like that. Tension Y, tension X, tension Y, like that, okay? So we have tension X, tension Y, like that, okay? You get the point? So we will solve now. Okay, tension force, okay? We calculate tension force Let's say tension is equals to the square root of the Tx component over square root plus Ty component. Okay? This is the formula of tension force. Parallel, the same as velocity is equal to the final velocity squared. Okay? Which is, I would say, Vx squared plus Vy squared component. Okay? We have also acceleration. Okay, acceleration, tangential. These are all tangential. If you create a perpendicular force and velocity, something like that, normally it will create a tangential by having the law of right triangle of Pythagoras. Okay, so we have acceleration radial raised to the power 2 plus acceleration centripetal. Okay, but in this case, we don't deal with this because we don't have radian here. The unit is we deal with we don't deal with this velocity, Vx, Vy. We don't deal with this because this is not driven by tension. We will deal with the tension. Okay? Because it is being asked, right? You should go to the quantity that is asked. Asked. Okay, not. So, okay, forces, vertical. Summation forces vertical net is equals to what's acting upward will be the positive Ty, right? Positive Ty, you get the point? And the ball is directed downward. So it's gonna be weight minus weight. There's a weight force of the ball. So you can say Ty is equals to mass of the ball, which is 2 kilogram times the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, everything going downward, guys, is acceleration due to gravity. Always bear this in your mind. Okay? For example, when you walk, when you stand, when you sit, there's always gravity in us. Okay? Like that. We are not always thinking of that, but there's a gravity already. Okay? You get the point? So, here you will let this zero, your F net, here. Okay, because the ball is starting from the rest before you swirl that in a circular motion. At first, there's no velocity, meaning there's no force at first. Okay, so you let that zero. Okay, you get the point, mga palangga, and then you'll say Ty is equals to 2 times 10 to the 81. That is will be your tension. Okay, actually this is still T. Ty is already a component. Okay? Let's just be strict because we have component. But what I'm trying to refer at first, this is already a tension, but we need to be strict because this component. Okay? Anak siya. Okay? So 2 times 10 to the 81. Then guys, kung given din yung acceleration dari Ari, okay, di nila mo ibutan ng zero ha because it's a given man. But in the problem, there's no acceleration given, see? As you can see, only the mass. And then the velocity here is just only a supporting details to solve for the tension force. It's not the acceleration at original situation. Okay? So you cannot put in A here. Because this thing here can be put by the second law of Isaac Newton. If there is really movement, motion is given in a problem, but in here, nothing. So you should treat that as zero. Okay? Muna siya technique. Okay? Para madali. Naglabda yung ulo. Dali lang siya ka-isolve. Nagdudikit yung ulo. Okay? So 19.62 muna ito ang tension. Okay? 19.62 Newton. Okay? This is your tension. Then, this is for the tension T. You get the point, mga palangga. That is for the tension T for you. So, na kay tension. You get the point. Now, how to solve in the horizon curve for this? Okay. Now, guys, actually, guys, this is a bitik. You know what? Why bitik? There's a component, right? Okay. Actually, this is already your tension if you want to be to be strict. But this can create component mangod siya. So there will be an angle trap developed for this. So usually, ang uban or me will be cheated. will be confused. Because sometimes, if there's no angle given, we will treat that as answer already sometimes, okay? But you know, there's a component here, right? So we will say Tx is, Tx is equals to T cosine theta. Ty is equals to T sine theta. Okay? But you don't have angle here. You get the point? But take note, you are starting in the level. If you take to remember the trigonometry, so this is still 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. Even though this is no given, but this is a circle, right? So meaning to say, this is still at a 0 degrees, right? So you will say, cosine theta, cosine of 0 degrees, how much? Ano agad siya, guys? Okay? So cosine of 0 degrees. See? 1 only. Kasi we substitute Ty, okay, is equals to tension, 19.62. Then sine of, okay, sine of 0 degrees. Okay, and Tx, okay, T cosine of 0 and T of 19.62. Cosine of 0 is just equals to 1 man siya. Meaning, your Tx will be equal to T in this case. Okay? Muna guys, that's why you can see in the books, they will never put T cosine theta. They will directly put in this way because cosine 0 degrees is just equal to 1. But they don't emphasize that. Okay? During the discussion in the book. Or maybe others instructors will just assume that the students will know already. That's why they don't emphasize. But the problem is, the students sometimes cannot understand why it will become like that since this is dealing with angle. You get the point? And sin theta also. Ganun, no? Di ba? Okay. So, muna siya ang makita ko ng higayon na. Okay? Ganun sa sin theta sa 0. Okay, sin 0 is equals to, okay, 0 siya. Okay. Mahimo siyang 0 ang T sin theta. Okay? Ganon. So, Ty will be 0 here. Ty will be 0. Okay. Sin theta, sin 0 is 0 man. So, 0 times a value, meaning Ty will be equal to 0 in this case. Okay? And Tx will be just equal to T because cosine 0 is 1. Okay, now. Okay. Unsa man atong Tx? Okay, atong Tx mo ni siya. Then ang atong Ty. Okay? Ty, take note. Ang Ty nato is 0, right? Do you think there's no Ty in this since it creates going upward? So sometimes you will have a common sense. I think there's Ty. Things like this, right, is really, what do you call this one? It's really catchy. Okay? Because if you try to follow the trigonometry in math, your T sin theta, tension times sin theta will be equal to 0 because your angle is still in 0 degrees because your ball is not yet moving. Okay, in this case. Now, your Ty is understood to be moving already because it's in the upward naman talaga siya when you swirl. So this Ty is only mean that it's already moving, it's still in static, this kind of Ty. That's why that is 0 pa siya. But then when the Ty is going na talaga during the swirl, this will not become 0 already. It has already a value. Get the point? Because sometimes, makintang mo siya, isubstitute niyo ang 0 diri ari. It's not, this is, highly theoretical but not practical. Get the point? You get the point? Because this is really the equation. Ty is equal to T sin theta because it creates an angle like that. But the only problem, this is in the stationary moment. Your Ty will not have an impact. That's why it becomes 0. But this is understood that you already, swirl the ball, meaning the ball is already in the up. So we need to say there's already Ty. Okay, you get the point mga palangga. Muna siyang hitabo. So, the ball will go upside, diba? You swirl. Of course, you develop an acceleration. Things like this is already analysis. Okay, not the usual theory. Okay, so when it become an acceleration, centripetal acceleration, we need to say that is also your Ty. Okay, your Ty will be equal to the centripetal acceleration. So, any questions so far? Because you accelerate the ball from horizontal to upside. So, top. Okay? You got the point. So, that's why you will say Ty will be equal now to mv squared over r. Okay? So, mass is 2 times velocity. How much you don't know. And then r is 1. So, siya dami mo diri sa Ty. But your Tx 19.62 para makuha na to ang tension. Okay, so tension is equals to 19.62 raised to the power 2 plus Ty, in which it is equal to centripetal acceleration only. Okay, centripetal acceleration is equals to, okay, mv squared over r, then we will still consider here the second law of Newton. So it will be derived like this, AC is equals to v squared over r. Okay, ganon. Okay, then since acceleration will be your tension, okay, now try to equate that one if they have the same units. Since we are having the concept that your Ty will now be equal to your centripetal acceleration. So take the unit if the acceleration and tension force have the same unit, right? It doesn't have the same unit because tension is force and then acceleration is, meter per second squared. Though you are having the concept that this tension force will act as your centripetal force during the movement because it accelerates, you will not carry the unit of the acceleration, but you will carry the unit of the centripetal force in terms of acceleration. So how can you do that? In terms of centripetal acceleration. Okay? Ganon. So, muna siyang nagtabo. Okay? Tanawa ang unit. Okay, so FC is equals to mv squared over r. Ang FC, ang unit na niya Newton. So, muna siya nga ito isa-substitute dili. Ang Newton, dili ang unit sa acceleration. Kaya dili siya mag-compatible, guys. Okay? You get the point? Basta ako kita mananalang niya siya centripetal acceleration. Okay, and then your centripetal acceleration will convert your tension force, which is also your centripetal force at that time. Okay? Ganon. So, mv squared, 2 times, namatay 20 meter per second. Oh, ganon na siya. Okay. 2, okay, then 20, raised to the power 2, then radius of 1. And the squared over r man siya mapalakapungitan. Yes. Okay. Nanada yun. Char. Ngayon yung tension. Okay, ganon. Okay, tension. Okay, so, ilan na siya? So, 400 mga palangga kong hitad. Okay, so mv squared over r, there is power 2 pa, Jude. Okay, so 20 times 20 is equals to times 2 is equals to divided by 1. Okay, equals to raised to the power 2 pa, Jude siya. Okay, ganon. And then, oh my gosh. Okay. 19.62 exponential is equals to times 640,000. The square root. No. Okay. 19.62. Ganon. Plus ganon. Okay. Is equals to square root. So you have 800. You have 800 newtons. Okay, the answer is 800 newtons. 800 newtons is your tension. How about using the 5? Because there are two situations. Okay, let's think first if the ball is moving at 20 meter per second and 5 meter per second. This is not the velocity. You get the point, mga palagkapungitan. Okay. Okay, the velocity is 5 na siya. Okay. So, ganon. So, 5 times 5 is equal to times 2 divided by 1. Okay. Then raise to the power 2, 5 na siya. 19.62 x 1. Okay, plus 2, 5, ganon. Equals to square root. Okay. So, 53.731. Take note, guys. Okay, take note mga palangga kong hitan. Okay? Take note ha, if you have a higher speed, you also have a higher centripetal force. If you have a lower speed, you also have a lower centripetal force. Why? Because in the equation Fc is equals to mv squared over r, if you increase the centripetal force, you will increase also your velocity. In this case, 20 velocity at first, second 5 meters, that's why it will become lower. Okay? So meaning to say, our answer is correct. Okay? The problem is if we have a force bigger than 800 at 5 meter per second, that is not valid. Because by theory, if you have a centripetal force, okay, you increase also your velocity. If you decrease your centripetal force, you decrease also your velocity. If that's not matched with the theory, then something wrong with our solution. Okay, even though you follow how to solve it properly, the theory will win. Get the point? The theory will win because the math is just to support the theory. Just like in a complaint or a case in a court. Okay, the evidences is to support the case. It's just like that. Okay, but the decision of the Supreme Court will be the winner, something like that. After you have the evidences and documents, things like this, the same in math also. The theory will be the final judgment. It's not the solution how you being solve that one. If you solve it, you feel it correct, but then it doesn't match the theory, that is still wrong. Review your solution, what particular formula you use, blah blah blah, so and so. There's something wrong with your calculator or whatever. Okay, get the point. Now here, okay, the mass remains the same and the radius remains the same. That's why it play on centripetal force and velocity only. Dito naglaro-laro sila. If you increase in centripetal force, you increase the velocity. So held constant ang mass o ang radius. The mass of the ball and the radius of the rope was held constant. Something like that, somewhere along the way. Wa niya LSD o laing rope. The same rope used, the same distance, the same radius, like that. It would be another case if he moved to another circle, another radius will be there. So you will be having now the ratio and proportion. Circle 1, circle 2, centripetal force in circle 1, centripetal 2. Nag-equate yung ka. And then body, you can compute another equation out of that. But in this case, it's only one. Okay? So there's no comparative analysis. Okay? There's no such other thing to do. There's no such analysis like that. That's why we go directly with this type of solution. Any question so far? First, calculate the tension force of the ball as moving at 20 meters per second. That is 800 Newton force tension. And for 5 meters per second, we have 8 Now guys, kaning Ty, okay, ang kaning Ty, nana siya yung value. Okay, muna siya ang konti. Dili ni siya nga mao nga Ty, ha? Okay, kaning Ty sin theta. Dili siya mao. Okay, kaya nga naman po, binuta, sin theta, mahimo man siyang 0. Okay? Kaya kung tayo po kag t sin 90, okay? Mara din ka. 90. Di ba? So, sin 90. Mahimo sa siyang 1. Okay. Sa ito pa, in this case, ty and tx will be just equal to t. Right? In which, it's not impossible because it's already accelerating. So, na-defeat niya ang kanya siya math. See? Na-defeat niya ang math. Right? This is math. Ty is equal to 3 sin theta. But this is no longer a theory. So, this cannot support the theory. Our theory states that the ball will accelerate upward. Obviously, there's a tension force there. Now, your math says Ty is equal to sin theta, and you have to choose 90 degrees because the ball will go up. It creates a perpendicular angle, 90 degrees. Okay, that's math. Okay, now the answer of math is 0. Or let us say, the answer of math is just equals to 19.62 sa TY. Okay? But TY can never be 19.62 because we consider the velocity and the centripetal acceleration. So it defeat the theory. That's why the theory and concept will win. Secondary ano lang ang pag-solve. Because back up lang naman siya, guys. Supporting data to prove your theory, principle, and concept. Something like that. Okay? You get the point. Mo na siya ha. Mo dominate yun ang theory. A lot of cases like that also. Okay? Not only in this particular topic. Ana ang mukuan, ang science. Math is created to back up science, to prove the scientific theories and scientific approach or any scientific discoveries. This is only to measure how true or correct your study really is. That's why you have to have experimental analysis. Okay, for example. Okay, and to maintain, it's on the level, something like that. For example, you are working in the quality department to maintain the quality. But actually, it's just only to support how the quality of your product is been working. Ganun lang siya. Okay? That's why you will vary that one. It will be highly up, highly down, it's in the middle, and sometimes, they will play doctorate in the results because the general theory and concept, it's this. For example, and then why it will go up more and go down. So that's why you will be applying the doctorate profession, something like that. They will change the results. And that is a reality all over the world. There's no perfect. Okay, something like that. Just to meet the theory. Okay? And the concept that this product, why it's becoming like this, but the product is known to be good. So maybe there's something wrong with how you deal with the calculation, how you deal with the sampling, or the amount you use is not enough, lack of point something. When you get the sample, let's say 5 grams of like this, put in the vessel and stir properly. Maybe you only put 4.9866, not the exact 5. Then it will matter a lot in your calculation there also. It will be accumulated because it's not really exact what you use, the quantity. Things a lot can matter during your, analysis. It's not always it will be wrong only in the analysis, in the math, but never the theory. Because the theory is already proven to be true and correct. Okay? You get the point? Ganun siya. Plus, guys, okay, di ba? Lahi ang TY, dalaw niya. Ang TY nga sa theory, di sa pariho. Na yung mga guys, okay? You get the point, mga palangga. Ano siya yung kasagaran mga yapo, mga examinees. Okay? Including me. Charot! Nakakaloka. Diba? Okay, ganon. Nakakaloka. So, imujing timanan, guys, if it really moves or not yet moving, ganon, yung ikuan sa mong brain cells, wala pa na siya malihok, ganon. Okay, so that you have an idea, there's a velocity because it moves, and then apply the equations, ganun. Naranan mo, muna na nakadito, ganon, di ba? Okay, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and a very good example for, a catchy question regarding about centripetal force. Thank you so much for watching. You can share this video also to anybody else, your friends or whatever. Okay, you can subscribe to my channel if you want, and you can also click the notification bell for some US updates. So I'm a singer channel. First, bye bye, everybody. Char.